Afternoon and welcome to the Don Valley Stadium for this, the second round of the Silk Cut Challenge Cup. Today's visitors, of course, are Salford from the second division. Probably the most important game so far of the season for the Eagles. Still lying in second place in the first division, of course, but these matches are important in terms of prestige and also money. If you get into the third round of the semi-final, you can make an awful lot of money. Of course, if you get to Wembley, then you get onto a world stage. So we'll just run through today's teams, and Salford are, Sheffield are, fullback Mumby, the wings are Nelson and Gamson, centres Powell and Panapa, half-backs Maiko and Aston, the front three Tunks, Cook and Wilby, the back three Broadbent, Nicol and Farrell, and the substitutes are Mayer and Waddell, the same team that played so well last week against Featherstone. And Salford are at fullback Gibson, the wings Gilfillan and Hadley, centres Fell and Williams, half-backs Cassidy and Kerry, the front three are Skerritt, Lee and Blease, the back three Hanson, Worrell and Burgess, and the substitutes are Burkett and Conroy. And today's referee, I see shaking hands, is Mr. Jim Smith from Halifax, one of our long-serving referees. He started refereeing First Division football in 1979, and it looks as though Salford have won the toss and are choosing to play with the wind. Slight breeze blowing from our left to our right, which is a normal prevailing wind for the Don Valley Stadium. I have with me today my co-commentator from Sheffield, who works for Advanced Video Productions on the Hull tapes. It's Steve Olsen. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Mick. Looking forward to this. Should be a good match, this. I think for the first time in their cup run, Sheffield perhaps start today as favourites, though Salford at the top of the second division will obviously be in very confident form. They've been used to winning this year and not to losing, so they're going to give everything they've got.
And Aston gets us away. 1 o'clock kick-off. It's certainly made my biological clock awry. I'm not used to kicking off at 1 o'clock in First Division in Rugby League. And the pitch looking remarkably dry, Stephen, saying the terrible weather we've had in the last few weeks.
Conditions ideal. There is quite a strong wind blowing down the ground at Salford's backs at the moment, and I don't think it'll be long before they're employing a kicking game. Here it comes.
That's Lee the hooker. Pops out of acting half-back and puts the ball down. We see Maiko again at full-back. Number 6 on his shirt, but swapping roles with Mumby. It worked well last week against Featherstone. And Gamson takes the ball up early. And the surprise today, of course, is that Daryl Powell's playing. Daryl injured last week, and it was feared he would be out for several weeks. And up until a few days ago, it was presumed that he wouldn't be playing. But Sheffield decided to risk him, and Aston puts the ball low. Gets the ball upfield, and this is Gibson. The men to look out for in the Salford lineup. But Gibson at full-back, I find, is one of the best attacking full-backs, certainly in the game. And Cassidy at stand-off caused a lot of problems to the Eagles in the league game last season. And again, Lee comes out to acting half-back and puts the ball downfield. Lets the wind carry the ball. That shows you the strength of the wind. So Salford obviously no intention of playing in their own quarter with the ball, Steve.
Well, I think it was on the second tackle that time, wasn't it? Making their intentions plain, they're going to try and put pressure on the Eagles inside their own quarter and hopefully come up with some errors from the Eagles.
Aston feeds Mumby and Cassidy. Well, Burgess doing well there and setting Mumby up for Cassidy to rip the ball. No intention of making the tackle there. Cassidy just left the tackle to Burgess. That's a penalty, dragging the man back. Quite right, Mr. Smith. Gibson dragging the man back over the line after the tackle was completed. Well, that's relief for the Eagles. And Aston feeds Panapa. So not risking the kick against the wind. We'll take the ball to the short side and then put the ball downfield. Anthony Farrell lost the ball. This is what you mustn't do in cup football. And that's big Mike Waddle. Toured in '84, of course. This is Ian Sharrett, another big player. Some big forwards at Salford. This is the first time Eagles have been under pressure early in the game in the Cups. And this is Cassidy, looking dangerous, and got a ball around the corner to Kerry. And that's good play. Well, two fatal mistakes there from the Eagles. First Mumby, and then Anthony Farrell relinquishing possession.
Just what I was talking about at that scrum, Mick, that's the Salford tactics, play Sheffield down here. And twice Sheffield in possession there, coughed up the ball, and Salford were good enough to take advantage of it. Notably, Mick Worrell and prop forward Sherritt gaining good yards there, putting a lot of pressure on the Sheffield defence. Quick play of the balls, and then room appearing out wide. But nice ball by Cassidy to Kerry to complete that try.
Yeah. So just 4 minutes gone, 4-0. And that's the first time the Eagles have been behind in the Cup. And Kerry, mobile kicker, puts it in. That's 6-0. So that's a dream start for Salford. And Aston puts the ball down. Got to start all over again now, the Eagles. That's Gilfellin. Well tackled by Cook. This is where they need the pressure on. They need a good return on the kick. Surprising because against Hull, probably one of the best sides in the league, Stephen, against Featherstone last week, made very few mistakes in the first half hour, Sheffield. They put the pressure and really put the pressure on the opposition.
Well, that's right. They put the pressure on the opposition. I think, especially early in that game, and really the pattern ran throughout against Hull, certainly that the Hull forwards struggled to make that vantage line, really. And Sheffield's moving up very, very quickly. Good marker defence and a good kicking game were the hallmarks of that win. Salford at the moment certainly got the bit between their teeth, really, Mick, and they're going to be pretty formidable opposition, I think.
So Broadbent takes it up the ruck, tackled by Sharrett and Hansen. And this is Aston, nowhere to go, but finds Powell. Powell with a chance to run. Couldn't get the ball to Panapa. Tunks gets the ball away. Finds Maiko. Maiko gets the ball upfield. That's not really an organised kick. Nelson now having to chase Adley, but he'll put him in touch here, I think. Yes, well done, David Nelson. He weighed that up. He knows he's got the legs on Adley. I think Adley fell for the 5-card trick there, Steve.
He certainly, that was poor play, really, by the way. He gained some yards, but he was always going to go in touch. And as you say, David Nelson read it extremely well.
So, Sheffield. Oh, Kerry comes up with the ball. Feeds Gibson. This is Williams. This is Fell now. Gets the ball back to Gibson, and Gibson to Williams. That's a terrific tackle from Mark Gamson. That was a 6-point tackle. That's good play from Salford. This is Cassidy again. And he's short, double movement. Quite right, Mr. Smith. On the spot again. The double movement, and there again we saw the two danger men for Salford. Cassidy and Gibson. Gibson twice in that movement. I rate him as one of the best full-backs in the game, Steve.
Yeah, the Sheffield back line, of course, expecting possession from that scrum when they had head and ball. Came out on the Salford side, and Kerry got a nice ball away, and certainly the Salford backs looked dangerous, and as you say, Gibson was very prominent in that. And fortunately, some really good last-ditch defence there kept Salford from increasing this lead. That could easily have been a second try.
So Gamson, who made that last-ditch tackle on Williams and really killed the man in the ball, stopped the movement. That was definitely a 6-point tackle. So, Eagles under pressure. Wilby makes the quarter line, but no real forward movement from the Eagles. Aston now. Well, that's dodgy play in your own quarter, but Panapa goes to the puts the ball to the boot, and the Eagles go up to the halfway line. This is Adley. Cassidy feeds Hansen. Cassidy now puts one over, and this is for Burgess to chase. Oh, Michael just gets away, but Mike Waddle comes up and takes a tackle. Good chase from Waddle. Good play from Cassidy again and Burgess, and those little kicks created have a class season for the Salford for the Eagles defence. So again, Cook trying to work his way up to the quarter line. 9 minutes gone. 6-0 to Salford. Movement now. And the Salford defence keeping the line. Last tackle. And Powell again getting tied up at the last tackle. Well, that's not good play, and that's not good control. Daddle has a tendency to do that. Not be decisive on the 5th tackle when he goes into the acting half-back slot. And then it's too late because everybody's under pressure. It's just Sherritt. Well, that wasn't really well organised, Steve.
No, Sheffield, in fact, are showing the signs of pressure, aren't they? It's all Salford at the moment. And this man Cassidy again, nice ball to centre, fell.
So, wide ball this time to Kerry. Kerry hits Burgess, that's good football. And Burgess fends Mumby off. Feeds Gibson again. Always there, Gibson, on broken play. And this is Nelson. Oh, just hold your ball, David. Yes, I was impressed by Burgess last week in the under-21s. He's one of the few forwards who... Anthony Farrell there finding a hole. One of the few forwards who made forward progress in the under-21, Steve.
Yeah, not a player I've seen before, actually. He's only a youngster, isn't he? Obviously.
So the Eagles again, trying to work their way up. Van Appe. Better momentum from the Eagles. Making ground there. And Aston now puts the ball down. And this is a better organised kick and chase by the Eagles. The line up. Gibson. False Cooks and Gamson's tackle. So now the Eagles have got to maintain pressure again. Tackle for 5 and return the ball. Never return the ball so far. This is Hansen. Well tackled by Broadbent and Nicol. And this time again, Bell. Lee comes out of the acting half-back, just puts the ball downfield. Well, it's not really an organised kicking game. They're not putting big kicks in, Steve. Just Lee's just popping out of the acting half-back.
Yeah, and using the elements, because this wind is a considerable factor at the moment.
I think we can see, though, Steve, that as opposed to the last 2 games against Featherstone and Hull, Sheffield are not playing that condensed defence that they did against those 2 teams.
No.
And that's fell, well tackled. Last tackle now. And this time Cassidy decides to run, finds Shedder, Shedder finds Kerry. Kerry puts a long ball to Williams. Plenty of space, and that's last tackle. Well, a case there of Eagles' pressure working against them. It forced Cassidy into passing the ball.
Yeah, that's right. Salford seemed to have opened up a gap, but a rather blind pass by Williams, actually, there. Didn't go to hand. But certainly before that sequence of 5, really Salford struggling to make any yards at all. That was much more like the sort of performance Sheffield had put on in the earlier rounds.
So Tunks finds Aston. Aston finds Powell on the bang. Well tackled, and it's a penalty against Blease. Took Tunks out very late. No, sorry, Waddle. Quite right, Mr. Smith. Going back to where the incident occurred, he'll have good advantage. And we have Blease leaving the field. That's an early substitution for Salford. And it's Tony Conroy, a player I don't know much about. So this is the first time the Eagles have had any position at all, the best attacking position. And again, Gamson takes the ball up. I really think they ought to alter that sometimes. Poor old Mark, he has it every time. This is Farrell. And they're shifting the ball this way from deep. Panappa's running. And, well, plenty of space, plenty of direction, but Panappa's pass, a little indeterminate, to say the least. Panappa now. Tunks. Last tackle. Got to keep the pressure on the Eagles. Don't put the ball dead. That's the worst thing. Powell feeds Panappa. Panappa puts the toe to the ball, and Gibson feels the ball like a goalkeeper. But that's good play from the Eagles. That's good pressure.
Certainly was. That was a good kick in the end. A little bit unlucky perhaps for Panappa. The ball went on the volley to the fullback Gibson, who positioned himself well and took it nice and cleanly. But certainly the good sequence of plays there by the Eagles. Just that one pass from Panappa out to winger Gamson that went astray, but they kept it going, and Aston prominent in the organising there, choosing his options pretty well, I think.
So Kerry this time, that's out on the full, and that shows, yes, well, I saw chalk fly up then. Mark Gamson sensibly not having a word with the touch judge, but definitely saw a flurry of chalk there.
Well, when the kick first came, George, it looked well out, but the wind seemed to hold it up a little bit, and certainly chalk was raised by it, and if so, the line is in touch, and therefore it should have been a scrum back where the kick had come from.
Nevertheless, the Eagles come up with the ball. Maiko tackled by Gibson and Panappa, and not looking quite so organised now, Salford. On that last sequence, never made any yardage. Ended up with Kerry not really putting a good kick in, panicking with the kick, and nearly ended up with a ball back situation. And Aston then feeds Powell. Powell hands off to Farrell. Farrell good in broken play. Hard ground suit him. Tunks now. Tunks gets a ball away. Ends up with Darrell. Start again. 6 more. So Sonny with a chance to run. Tackled by Burgess and Kerry. Oh, that's good progress. That's better stuff from the Eagles. That's good momentum. And again, Sonny goes. Go Sonny. And again, that's good. That's good momentum.
Salford starting to look a bit shaky in the marker defence, Mick.
Aston's gone through. He's got Farrell. He's dummied. Oh, well done, Tunks. And Mark Aston doing absolutely the perfect thing. And you could see that coming all the way. So 16 minutes gone, and it's 6 points to 4, with Mark Aston with almost the formality of adding the adding the extras. Well, you could see that, you felt that was coming, Steve, ever since the Eagles got good possession. First time they got good position, they've never really relinquished it.
No, they haven't, and right through that sequence of plays there, a lot of good yardage, quick play of the balls. The Salford defence always retreating, not really able to organise itself, and Mark Aston, having the maturity there, found himself in space, had the option of the player outside him, but the fullback caught in two minds, and Aston able to go in under the post, and that will certainly settle the Eagles down, because so far Salford have, certainly in attack, have looked quite promising.
So Mark Aston, 6 apiece. 18 minutes gone. So Kerry to restart. That's a blow for Salford. And that's going out on the full. Yes, that's a penalty. Well, this touch judge on this side. I don't know if you noticed, but the touch judge on this side, Steve, really didn't know what had happened then.
No. It was clearly out though. Good foot and a half out, not more.
So Aston with a penalty, and that's a bad way to restart a game after you've given 6 points away. Puts the ball in, quite happy just to make the 10 yards mark. Strong wind against him. We will see him kicking the ball in the second half, way downfield. That's if the wind keeps blowing. And Mike Cook exploiting lack of organisation there in the ruck. And Nickel now. Well, never quite got any steam up then, Sonny. So again, Salford under pressure. David Nelson fancies a run. Brought down by Hansen. And again, Cook feeds Tunks. Tunks gets the ball to Broadbent. All a little bit tight, but short on the right-hand side now, Salford. Darrell with a long drop goal, and it goes well wide. So Salford with some possession for the first time for a while. We'll see how they deal with this sequence, Steve.
Yeah, it seems to me, Mick, that Sheffield have made a decision to try and take on Salford around the ruck area. A lot of play coming back to that area of the field at the moment, and certainly does seem to be paying dividends.
So this is Conroy. Hansen coming with for the ball now. Gets up, no dangerous then, but well tackled by Mick Cook. Then Bell puts one over the top for Kerry to chase, and it ends up with Michael and David. Oh, almost a chance to go. Certainly gets the crowd oohing and ahhing, does Michael, when he looks as though he's setting up.
Well, he's a good broken field runner, isn't he, from positions like that, and certainly he gave them a few problems there. Just tackled short of halfway. Here's Gamson though.
Vanappa now. And Tunks, good tackle from Hansen. Had an impressive season, this fella from New Zealand. Michael Aston rather gets back Powell away. Mumby, he's got Cook. He's got Cook. Cook's keeping alive. Oh, he can't control the ball. Good chance gone then. Good defence from Salford, and that's play on. Sonny Nickel. That's bad play from Salford after regathering. That's a penalty. Well, that's the most stupid thing I've seen from Steve Gibson. Well, you might as well give the points away.
Well, looks like he was conceding 2 rather than 6. I mean, he seemed to be, that could be the only motivation for that, really. But yeah, Salford really showing the signs of pressure there, because they got the ball back. Actually, a lovely bit of interplay with Aston and Powell, and Keith Mumby breaking the tackle. And then they lost their way a little bit then. He had Cook on the inside.
Yeah.
Cook seemed to run back towards him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The breakdown of communication, really.
Well, you've got to give credit to the Salford defence player. There are plenty of numbers there. There are plenty of traffic. And Mick just tried to step to his left to link with Daddle. And just broke down then.
Yeah, they covered back pretty well. But they're certainly showing the signs of pressure, aren't they, at the moment?
Aston, 8-6. 21 minutes gone. And the cry of Eagles. Eagles comes up. So still a long way to go. Ball control's been a little bit better now from the Eagles. Very few mistakes after that first 5 or 6 minutes. And Kerry puts the ball down, but this time drops it short. And Sonny Nicol plays patty cake. There's a chance to wind up. And it's tackled by Hansen, and a lot of tackling Hansen for Salford. And a lot of running. Oh, Penapper again exploits that lack of organisation at the play of the ball. And Cook goes for another 10. Anthony Farrell steps, stands up, holds on. Tunk's going on the right-hand side now. Here he goes. And David Nelson fancies a tilt. But really, doesn't make much of that, and that's the last tackle. No momentum on this sequence from the Eagles. Aston takes it short side, puts it downfield, and that's a good kick against the wind. And the Eagles up in numbers, up in a line, and that's good play. Aston chases his own kick and brings Gibson down. Dangerous man, Gibson. This is Adley. Can't say the same about Adley.
No, not at all. But good play by Mark Aston. Chose the right option there, a well-executed kick on the short side, and he was the first up to make the tackle as well, Mick.
Yes, he's one of the best directors of play in the game. I really think he should be. How he was dropped out of the England squad, I don't know, and Kevin Ellis put in front of him. I find it incredible.
Well, I think he played 1 minute in France, really. I mean, that's not time to do anything right or wrong, is it? So this is centre fell for Salford, and they're back over halfway here. The last tackle against them, though.
This is Kerry, and it's panic situations for Salford now, almost in every sequence. And that's a turnover, or it's Sheffield ball. Some referees would have given that a turnover, although Sheffield came up with the ball, but Mr. Smith allowing play on. And Broadbent just forces his way 10 yards upfield. Yes, no disrespect to Kevin Ellis at Warrington, of course, but he really doesn't rate in the same class as Mark Aston as far as organisation and direction of play goes.
Yeah, he's a player with potential, is Ellis, whereas Aston is an achiever, a man who's doing it week in, week out in the First Division.
So Mumby feeds Aston, Aston feeds Sonny. Last tackle now, that's a quick sequence. Then Mark Aston again directing matters, gets the ball to Tunks. Tunks has got to offload, gives it to Mark Aston, and it doesn't seem to be running free, doesn't Mark Aston. Decides this time to put the ball in the middle of the field, behind Gibson. And Gibson nowhere to go, and again Aston first up to his kick, and ragged down his Gibson on the quarter line. Get up, Mark, don't give penalty away. This is Waddle. Tackled by Broadbent. Conroy's hit the line hard since he's come on. Kerry now, Cassidy. And Cassidy puts the ball down. Ends up with Maiko. He has Nelson with him. Gives David a chance. Nelson. Tackled by Williams and Hadley. And Maiko again goes. Well, this marker defence is really appalling from Salford.
No marker at all there, that time. That's good play by David Maiko. He's taken those are valuable 20 yards in two plays there, because really his forwards went back to take it up there. That's excellent play and really quite poor play by Salford. I don't think Salford are obviously weaker on the marker defence, but I think Sheffield are good enough to exploit it at the moment. Mick, they're well organised in that area. Good play here, getting Gamson away on the outside, and the ball ricochets off a Salford player into touch. It's off, in fact, Gilfillan.
Mark Gamson trying his eyes to get the ball back to Penapper.
I do think Sheffield have sussed out the weaknesses of the Salford side and exploiting that pretty well now.
Worrell there, taking a shot at Mark Assenwell. If these touch judges have got anything to say or do, they've got to go on and sort that out. And there's this touch judge on this side, Steve, gesticulating to Mark Assen, telling him to get up. And there's a touch judge on the far side who's seen the incident, comes on to report it to Mr. Smith.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The touch judge on this side interpreted it as Mark Aston taking a dive, but the official from the far side, no hesitation, in he came.
Why?
This looks like it's a sin binning for Mick Worrell. Well, no doubt about it, he broke from the scrum and he was trying to take out Sheffield's main playmaker.
Dead right. Totally cynical action from Worrell. For me, 10 minutes is not enough for that. That should be a sending off offence totally. Whether he connected with Mark Aston or not, or how he certainly connected, but the weight of the connection, of course, only Mark Aston knows. But it's not for this touch judge to interpret the effect of the offence, Steve. Only to interpret the offence.
The intention, I would have thought.
Well, the intention was certainly cynical. So, Mike Cook feeds Gamson, and Gamson drives to the line. Aston now. Nice play, brings Anthony Farrell on the outside of the ruck, and they'll be shifting it back now for Powell and Panapa to run on this left side. And here we go. Plenty of space and depth. Oh, good ball from Maiko. Oh, good run from Aston. Oh. And Mark Gamson then trying to shuffle the ball back inside before he'd actually got it. He had Panapa waiting on the inside again.
Good hands over by the Sheffield players, wasn't it, across there? And great purpose. They all knew what was on there. And I think that's why they're looking good at the moment. They've got a good set plan to play, but when impromptu situations arrive, they've also got good skills in taking the right options as well, Mick.
Waddell replaces Peter Tunks, ringing the changes again. Sheffield, as they have been doing for the last few matches. It's a Gil fill-in from a wild pass from Kerry behind his own post. Mumby could have really been onto that ball. So Wilby bringing the men down again. This is Hansen again. And good tackling from the Eagles, killing the man in the ball. This is Lee, I should say. And Cassidy kicking now. And that comes off the side of the boat. And Mark Gamson to return the ball. Run, Mark. And that's a penalty that should have been a penalty. Kerry not involved at all in the tackle. And waiting while the tackle's complete before he goes for the ball. So 30 minutes gone. 8-6 to the Eagles, and Waddell goes up the middle of the field. If they are weak in the ruck area, he's a man that will exploit it, you Waddell. And here comes Tim Wilby, and again, a lot of space. Aston now, widening it out. Finds Panapa. Panapa's got, he just couldn't get the ball up to Maiko. Just a lack of direction there from David. And well, perhaps not the best option from Mark Aston. So Gibson now, and looking more disorganised as the game goes on. Salford don't seem to be able to cope with the pressure.
It's becoming fairly predictable who's bringing the ball up, Mick, isn't it? I think the Sheffield defence are finding it easier to spot them. That's a good kick, driving Sheffield back into their own quarter. But after that first 5 or 6 minutes, when Salford certainly got the pressure on the Eagles in their own quarter, that their kicking game actually hasn't been as good until that last one. And Sheffield have coped very easily with the clearing kicks.
So this will be an Eagles scrum. And that's a good push from Salford. Ian Sherrick getting a push on there. We have Tim Wilby on the open side now. And Tim, not a specialist prop, of course. And that's offside. Kerry's offside. I mean, that's rugby union stuff.
Yeah, certainly seemed to come around very quickly there, and that's should be a penalty to the Eagles. Jim Smith reads that right. Mumby on the floor, and Cassidy, was it, ripping the ball away from him? And a sign of the pressure Salford are under, really.
So Aston to put the ball into touch. And this time it's Sonny Nicol. Different man to bring the ball up, and Sonny loses the ball. Hansen coming in with a big hit. Hansen and Ian Sherratt, and dislodged the ball from Sonny. That's the first lack of ball control that the Eagles have been guilty of the last 20 minutes. And this has put Salford in a good position. Sherratt feeds Gibson. Long, tall, praying mantis type of physique, Gibson, but well coordinated. Oh, and Michael made a meal of that, and it ends up with Adley. That's very dangerous. Oh, and that was bad play. Hansen. Well, that was a terrible mistake from David Michael. 34 minutes gone, 10-8, and Kerry with the conversion to come. Well, that came from nothing, Steve.
Absolutely, just came from basic error. Salford really weren't creating anything purposeful. A rather speculative kick perhaps put over, but David Michael unfortunately fumbling, and from the resulting play of the ball, Worrell finding room at the ruck to dive over. Very simple try. Not Worrell,
No, Hansen, yeah. But they have used that kick throughout the game with either Cassidy or Lee just putting the little kick over with a man chasing, a man predeterminedly chasing the ball and coming at pace and putting pressure on the receiver.
Yeah, the Salford winger Hadley got near enough to Maiko to make him look up perhaps, and the mistake came from that.
So Kerry, their chance to go 4 points in front. That looks good. No. So the Eagles, with 5 minutes of the first half left, need to get back in this game. Aston puts the ball down and finds Gilfillan. Seems as though they have condensed the defence again, Steve. They've pushed in a little bit.
Yeah, doing a bit, because as you say, that try really came against the run of play that Sheffield have shown the capacity to handle fairly easily what Salford have thrown at them ever since the first 5 or 6 minutes of the match. And nevertheless, they find themselves behind, and perhaps they just need to be a little bit more ruthless in this game.
Again, Lee just popping out of, and that's going dead. That's gone dead. Let it go, David. And Farrell. Nicol now. And Nelson coming for a tilt here. And that was to nobody in particular. Got to get control again of the Eagles. And Hansen again drives Gamson into the ground. Doing an awful lot of work, Hansen. Penapper takes the ball up. Powell now steps, goes for the hole, gets through. just couldn't link up with Udell. Last tackle now. Mark Aston probably keep the ball low. Keeps it low, puts it to the corner, and Gibson will watch that go in. Good kick from Mark Aston. Powell looks able to break quite easily when he gets a chance.
Certainly does, doesn't he? I mean, you wouldn't believe he's got this terrible broken hand, really. A very bad wound that he picked up last week. Many people thought he'd be out, but I think you were saying before the game, Mick, that he's been strapped up for this game by the boxing trainer, Harold Graham's trainer.
Well, there's some talk of it, Brendan Ingle coming up and doing it, yeah. And he looks well strapped up from here. But it hasn't affected his playing anyway, it hasn't affected his tackling or his handling. An influential player for the Eagles, Darryl Powell. And that's a penalty against Keith Mumby. Yes. I'm sorry, Mike Cook. Just a little bit slack then, the Eagles. Nobody acting half back. And Mike Cook can't step in from the side. He either has to leave play alone or get back early. So Salford again with good position. Haven't been up here many times this half. But the 3 times they've been up, they've scored. Oh, that's dodgy play. Cassidy comes up with the ball. This is Williams. Kerry finds Cassidy, and Cassidy again puts the little kick over. Oh, well played, Mark Gamson. And oh, that's good stuff. Good return.
Very, very good. Kept his cool there, did the right thing, gained yards and put Sheffield on the attack again. Here's Maiko tackled 5 yards or so short of halfway. Panaper acting half.
Waddell tackled by Hansen again. We'll be having a tilt. Tim takes the ball up. As we come in to the last minute of the half, Aston puts the ball down, straight to Gibson though this time. Not a good kick. Dangerous man, Gibson. You mustn't give him room. And that's fell. Eagles back. Good return that from Salford. Return the kick back, and again Hansen drives the ball up. Been impressed with this man so far. Cassidy finds the short side. Short of numbers. Worked a 3-2 situation there, Cassidy, but the kick not well executed. So, as we go into injury time, the Eagles still 2 points behind. There goes the hooter. Well, a thoroughly fascinating first half, Steve.
Certainly has. Sheffield really have had the better of it, territorial, and certainly looked the better organised side, but Salford made a good start to the game, getting that try very early on, and they were able to come back and snatch the lead again just before half-time with that try really from a Sheffield mistake. Salford's kicking game has been dangerous, particularly chips put through by Lee and Cassidy for players to run onto have caused a few problems, because in this wind it's not easy to gauge where the ball's going to go, and once it lands on the ground anything can happen. But I do fancy Sheffield in the second half. They'll have the wind at their backs. It'll be very important that they play as much of the game as possible in the Salford quarter, and the Salford defence, especially around the ruck, hasn't looked as solid as it might do. So the odds still on Sheffield, but Salford aren't out of this game by any means, and in fact at half-time they have a 2-point lead.
So join us again for the second half, the second round of the Silk Cut Challenge Cup. Okay. Welcome back for the second half. Of what should be an absolutely enthralling game. Eagles behind 2 points, 40 minutes left to go into the third round draw for the first time, Steve.
Yeah, first time in their history. They've had, certainly will have deserved it, having played Hull, Featherstone, Salford here. Still got this game to get over, of course, and remember Salford are ahead at half-time, but and having played, having been drawn in the preliminary round of every cup competition this year, Sheffield certainly deserve to make some progress in one, and it looks as if it's going to be the big one in which they are making good progress.
So, Kerry to restart the game. The wind not quite as strong, the wind died down a little bit. It's a perfect, almost spring-like afternoon, and Kerry pops the ball up. We have May on for Anthony Farrell's still on, and Nelson's away. Oh, and Kerry just brings him down. That would have been interesting. Waddell hits the line and makes 15 yards. So we have big there's May, here he goes, and that's good running. And Cook just got lost a little bit then. The call from Waddell and Cook not picking it up, and now Powell just puts the ball downfield as Salford were doing. The wind's not as strong, but it's still quite a strong stiff breeze. And risky pass then from Gibson for the start of the second half.
Yes, that it went to hand, but there was nothing to be gained from it.
So we'll see how Salford deal with the pressure from the Eagles' defence with the wind against them. Relied heavily on the wind in the first half. This time Shedder stopped by Meir. Two big fellas together. And as we talk, the wind stiffening up again. Last tackle, we'll see what Cassidy can do against the wind. And he puts the ball up, and it doesn't go very far. It stops in front of Maiko, and Maiko feeds David Nelson. Nelson. Good tackle from Hansen again. And Penapper worms his way around the ruck. And it's Hansen that brings the man down again. This is Wilby. And Hansen again. Well, I'm fed up with talking about that fella. Farrell. Some depth now. This is Meyer. Steps. But Cassidy rips the ball. Good play from Cassidy. Burgess. Again, the Eagles' defence condensed nice and tight. All players pushing in tight, not defending the width of the field. Just defending the initial two-thirds that are threatened. Switching short side this time, and the ball's away to Williams. Counted the numbers up then and brought it to the short side. And Maiko doing well. He had to play that ball, couldn't leave it. Williams takes him into dead. So Mark Aston to restart the game with a dropout under the posts. There's the breeze with him. And he gets a good one away, goes almost 50 on the full. And Gibson's played the ball, it's all on. This is Kerry. So Gibson now. Hansen tackled by Farrell. Cassidy. Well, he didn't want that ball, didn't Cassidy? He's going to kick this time. And that's last tackle. The ball struck the man. Keith Mumby never played the ball. And Lee puts the ball over, and he finds Nelson. Nelson gets away from Williams, and he gets to the middle. Well, he's looking dangerous every time he gets the ball, Nelson.
Beginning to run the ball back very well, Mick, isn't he? Straightening up and finding a hole.
The kicking game from Salford not as effective against the wind.
No, it's all impromptu, isn't it? It doesn't look to have a lot of predetermined purpose to it.
Ashton now feeds Powell. Powell steps inside. Waddle. Happy to be in no man's land, not tackling anybody. And that's offside. Fell going far too soon out of the blocks then. Last tackle now. Ashton with the wind at his back. Just puts one over the top, but not far enough. Finds Gilfillan, signing from Wigan this season. And a good tackle from Des Meyer. So the Eagles not really utilising the wind. Just a little kick then from Mark Ashton. Easily dealt with by the Salford winger. That's a good tackle. Mark Gamson. Tekin fell out. This is Ian Sharrett. And Bell this time just kicks the ball out of the half-back hole. And Gamson brings the ball back 15 yards. So Cook, again, working his way upfield. And again, Hansen slams him to the floor. And this time, Ashton using the wind. Well, that's a good kick. Got to keep tight on this man. And Mumby, quite happy to go downstairs and bring him down. Hadley, tackled by Powell. Gibson. Doesn't seem to be winning in ones, not much movement from the Salford team.
Oh, they are going forward a bit though, Mick, at the moment, and Sheffield are not, I don't look thinking, having seen the whole game, certainly not quite as ruthless in the tackle. There's not quite that same, I don't know, moving up quickly, knocking men down, hurting them in the tackle maybe.
So this is Burgess. Gets the ball off to Hansen. Hansen gets the ball away to Fell. And that's a good try. Well, I spoke too soon there, Steve. That's dangerous. Oh, you're quite right. There didn't seem to be many defenders there when the ball was moved out. Not a lot of pursuit from the Eagles then.
No, they've just looked a little bit vulnerable. Salford have started the second half quite well. So they've got it all to do now. 14-8, the kick to come.
So 6 points behind the Eagles again. And Salford scoring after 10 minutes, as they did in the first half. Good run then from Burgess. Well, at least we spotted the danger men, Burgess and Gibson and Cassidy. And Hansen did exceptionally well then. Certainly been impressed with him, Stephen. His work rate's been outstanding.
Yeah, both in defence and then now in attack, really. Getting across in the right place and getting the ball away to Fell to score.
So the wind blowing into Kerry's face, and he puts it up, and it drifts across the goals. So all the questions now being asked of the Eagles.
Number 3, David Fell. Makes the score now, Eagles 8, Salford 14.
So Wilby goes off, and Peter Tunks comes back on, rotating the forwards. The Eagles. Ashton puts the ball down, and Gilfillan runs the ball from his own corner flag. This is Sharrett. Driven back, good tackling from Cook. Conroy, tackled by Mayer. Hansen offloads again, finds Lee and Kerry. Cassidy now kicks and fended back by Mark Gabson. All the Salford players are onside, and Gamson has a tilt upfield, gets past one, keeps going, loses his shots, finds Mayer. Mayer can run. Still running. Oh, dispenses with Ian Sheddock with ease. Ian Sheddock gets up and shakes his head. Well, I thought Mayer might have had a crack on the outside then.
Yes, in the end he got too near to touch and did the right thing, came back inside.
Aston now puts a little one over the top. Well, I don't like to criticise, but you might as well get the ball downfield and get it right onto the Salford line rather than put little ones over the top and give them easy possession. That's what happened earlier on. He gave easy possession to Gilfillan and he brought the ball back. Keep the pressure on. Gibson. That extra 30 yards makes all the difference between being 10 yards from your own halfway line and 10 yards from their try line. Psychologically, it's essential that you get the team pinned into their own quarter. And forward pass then from Cassidy to Gilfillan, and it's last tackle now. And again, Salford showing lack of organisation on the fifth tackle. Waddell comes with the ball, steps in.
Salford looked very disorganised on that last sequence of plays, Mick, really. They didn't even get a kick away in the end.
That's a good tackle. Burgess doing well then. Tunks finds Aston finds Farrell, and it's play on. No, it's a knock. First knock on, says Mr. Smith. And Salford head and ball. Mr. Smith adjudging no advantage accrued from the first knock on. This is Kerry. And a penalty for offside. The first one of the game, I believe. I think that's the first penalty for offside throughout the 45 minutes.
Yes, it has been. And Sheffield conceding it, so Salford with a chance to get a good field position inside the Sheffield half. And Sheffield have shown they can contain Salford fairly easily inside their own half, but they've got to themselves handle and be a bit more efficient with the ball. And as you said earlier, Mick, I think they'd be better driving Salford back to their own line, because I'm sure something will come from that. They haven't really done that yet. I'm sure that Salford will struggle to take it away from their own quarter.
You seem to get the feeling from the game that Sheffield realise they're so much better than Salford and feel they have something in reserve. But in cup football, you don't really have anything in reserve. You've got to play to the hilt.
Yeah, they haven't really shown it yet, and Salford here attacking again.
Kerry feeds Burgess. So the Eagles under pressure again. And that's a drop goal. And Lee has done a lot of kicking this half, this game. So that 1 point could be vital. 15 points to 8, 7 points the difference. 25 minutes of the game left. So Salford with a 7-point lead can just play the clock out, and that's good play from Waddell. This is Mayer, Gets the ball to Penappa. Penappa just stops in field. Aston finds Waddell. Waddell goes, drags 3 defenders in. But Salford with a lot, 7 points to defend. Easy to tackle when all you're doing is defending the lead. Nicol. Dunks now, feeds Aston, it's a long ball, turns the ball back to Powell. Last tackle. Nelson, and a little kick this time from Aston, that's going dead, is it? Well, that's a strange decision. Well, I don't know what happened there, Steve. Either nobody touched the ball, but it looked to me like a Sheffield player had either got to the ball. Well, maybe after the ball's gone over the try line.
So yes, I think he's given it. The Sheffield man made it. Here's a break by Sherritt, by the way. But I think going back to the earlier decision, I think the interpretation was that the ball had just gone dead before Sheffield hadn't touched it. It certainly was a half chance because Salford didn't cover it very well. But it's just getting the feeling it's that sort of game when things are little half chances are not going Sheffield's way.
Like a forward pass, Cassidy. Hansen, good tackle from Mumby. This is Conroy, last tackle now, and the breeze stiffening up behind the Eagles, and that goes straight into the air from Lee. This is the last tackle, Hadley, and Nelson put him into touch, and it's a turnover. Well, Nelson put him into touch, then would have been more beneficial just to tackle him in field.
Yeah, although has the referee not said that Sheffield touched the ball after the kick? Otherwise, it would have been it wouldn't have been a turnover, would it? Because Sheffield tackled the man he touched. Perhaps so. Yeah. Yes, he would have been better tackling him in field, but safety first, I think. Had to be.
Yeah. Waddell. And Cook. The Eagles need to be doing something with the ball. Tunks. Tackled by Hansen. This is good defence from Salford. Aston now putting the ball to boot and gets it right into the corner. This is Powell and Mayer. Mayer lets Gibson away. Gibson, dangerous man, gets a ball to Hadley. Hadley tackled by Nicol. And they return the ball well then, Salford. Sherritt. Under pressure now, the Eagles. Just really can't afford another score against them. That really will be end of the section. Hansen drops the ball this time. Made very few mistakes, Hansen. That's one of them. This is Waddell. Cassidy lets him through. Mayer. And you get the feeling that Salford know all they have to do now is tackle. They've stepped the tackling up. Happy enough just to tackle.
Yeah, they can just play a containing game from now on. But I think they've tightened up their marker defence as well, Mick, in the second half.
So Powell feeds Aston. Aston on the break. On tackled again by that man Hansen. He's popped up all over the field as Hansen at important times for Salford. And this is a kick through from Tunks. So now, this is where the Eagles have got to get tight again, put the pressure on, get the ball. 17 minutes of the game left. So Gilfillan, you're quite happy just to take the ball up one at a time now with Salford. They have the points. And all the pressure on the Eagles. They've got to force the game. And Sharrett now takes the ball to the short side and gets the ball away to Gilfillan. And Gilfillan gets it up to this man Hansen. Only Maiko to beat. Maiko brings him down. Last tackle. Well, a good switch then from Ian Sharrett. Took it to the short side. And space here now. And Adley twists out of a tackle. It ends up with Nelson. Now a good play from Sharrett and Hansen again.
Certainly it was. That man Hansen on hand there, and it took David Maiko's try-saving tackle to stop him, really. And certainly Salford playing with a lot of confidence here. But an offside decision against them. Chance for the Eagles to bring the ball back up into the Salford half. But the Eagles just haven't quite got that zip and enthusiasm that we've seen in the previous two rounds, Mick.
Yeah, as I said before, Steve, you seem to get the feeling from the Eagles that they had something in hand over Salford, but it doesn't work that way. You have to treat every opponent in the cup games as though you're playing Widnes or Wigan.
Absolutely.
So plenty of depth here from the Eagles. Aston feeds Nicol. Tunks now. Feeds Waddell. Waddell's found a hole. Good tackle from Burgess. Aston feeds Mumby. Has Maiko. And a penalty against Salford for holding now. You've got to go for the 2 points. And he's doing his mark, Aston. 15 minutes of the game left. Well, Mr. Smith just missed there a little bit of contest between Aston and Cassidy. And Cassidy lashing out with his boot then.
Yeah, but he's got the penalty was for holding down, and Maiko trying to make a quick play of the ball there. Wasn't really able to regain his feet.
So Aston just settles. Not being many penalty kicks at goal in this game. And puts that over. Yes, there hasn't been many penalties in the game, Steve, overall, and very few kicks at goal.
Very few indeed. I think the referees had a very good game.
So 5 points in it. 2 vital points, those means that the Eagles, with a try and a goal, will go 1 point in front. And the wind getting steadily stronger by the minute. Oh, Dallel making a mess of that. And I wonder if that was due to his strapping on his hand. The ball holding up in the wind. Plenty of time at Dallel, but certainly made a mess. So the Eagles under pressure again. This is Lee. And shifting the ball now, Salford, Cassidy. Last tackle. We'll go for a drop goal again, I think. Here he goes, Lee. No, touched in flight. Drop out under the sticks. Well, I didn't see that, Steve.
No.
I didn't see a Sheffield man near the ball.
No, the referee seemed pretty clear about it, but yeah, uncharacteristic error from Darryl Powell from the kick-off, and Sheffield doing well there, not to concede the 6 points really, because Salford had a lot of pressure on them.
Good tackling. Penappa and Maiko. Maiko underneath with the shoulder. This is Hansen. So last tackle now. Salford. Not ambitious at all with the ball. Don't have to be. They've got the points on the board. And that's a good kick hanging. And caught on the full by Gamson. And Mr. Smith a bit slow getting back then. And Mike Cook and the Eagles getting the roll on. The supporters getting behind them, but running out of time. Just 11 minutes left. Daryl Powell now. Tunks. Ball goes to floor, but picked up by Nickel. Got to take chances now, the Eagles. Got to force the game. Can't just play safety football, and that's no good, really. That was terrible play. And nobody at home. Burgess will go the distance. He's going to make the 20 if it's gone. That's a try. That's the game over. No complaints can be had from the Eagles. That was bad play from Aston and Cook at acting halfback.
Yeah, total breakdown of communication then, and this loose forward for Salford, Burgess picking up and going fully 40 yards plus to score a fine try. Certainly a very mobile forward.
I should say more like 50 yards, but nobody at home for the Eagles.
Not at all. They were well and truly caught out there, and I think barring a miracle, that's probably it.
Yes, I should say that's the end of the section. That's a tremendous performance by Salford. Take the chance as well. You have to give credit where it's due. They haven't had many chances, Salford. In fact, you have to say that they've taken every chance that's been offered to them.
Certainly have. And I think really in the second half they've tackled a lot better than they did in the first half as well. They've had that, as you say, it's easier to tackle when you're ahead and confidence, but the Eagles really haven't threatened very much in the second half, Mick, have they?
No, they haven't. When they've come down and got good position, they've almost given the ball away.
Yeah, and that was an example of it, the last one, wasn't it?
So Kenny. The chance to get his second goal. Mr. Smith stopping the clock while Kenny messes about with the ball. Restarts the clock. And Kenny takes his time and gets 10 for style, nothing for content. So 19 points to 10, 9 minutes of the game left. And the Eagles, no choice now but to play catch-up football if they're going to do. Might as well chance their arm. Broadbent comes back on for Mumby. And neither touch judge again. These touches really haven't worked. There was neither touch judge checking the baseline there, Steve. One touch judge has got to get back on the baseline. I'm sure the Salford player had his foot on the dead ball line when he picked that ball up. This is Hansen, my man of the match. Burgess, Sherritt. And Cassidy puts the ball up. We have Mark Gamson at full-back now. Aston sells a dummy, feeds Broadbent. Waddle. Tunks offloads the ball to Waddle. Waddle finds Maiko. Maiko lifts it up. Gets it to Cook. That's what you've got to do, Eagles. Keep the ball alive. And the ball ends up with Des Meyer. Meyer has a tilt. Got to keep the ball alive. And Meyer plays the ball to himself. Gets the ball to Tunks. Tunks is away. And got plenty of depth now. This is a chance for the Eagles. No good kicking. Haven't time to kick now. You've got to handle every bit of possession that you've got. And use the ball. You've got to use it, Daryl. You've got to use it, Sonny. This is good. Ball ends up with Gamson. Got a man over. It's Nelson. And David couldn't control the ball. But that's better from the Eagles. Can't play to your pattern now. No time. 6 minutes left. This is Conroy. Sherritt takes the ball up, well tackled by Nelson. This is Hansen again. Last tackle. And Meyer with a chance to run, comes in field. Big handoff. Waddle, up the middle. But really haven't got time to set things up, the Eagles. And Cassidy spots that. Tackled by Maiko. Well, turn the ball back inside then, Steve, when lots of runners on the outside.
Yeah, and they'd looked dangerous on the outside in the previous play, hadn't they, Mick?
Kerry feeds Hansen. Still 19-10, 5 minutes to go. And you have to say and Meyer stepping, howls the ball up, finds Nickel. Nickel with a chance to run. And a good tackle from Peter Williams. Nobody at home though. Nickel plays the ball. And that's a late tackle from... Yes, Cassidy in late on Nickel when he was on the floor. And the clock stopped. Didn't have a word with Cassidy. Well, I have to wonder to our referees. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Mr. Smith. He's referee quite. And we have a visitor on the field. The Sheffield Dogs about to take part in the game. And first one he has a go at is Mick Waddle. But going back to the referees, Steve, I mean, Mr. Smith went running in there and dashing in. Panicking more than the players were.
Yeah, really, it can sometimes incite, can't it, really?
Certainly, we saw that last week as well with Mr. Allsworth dashing about on the field when players were fighting. I really don't see what Mr. Smith had to run it there, and then just have a quiet word with Cassidy and award a penalty. I mean, if it's that serious that Mr. Smith has to run in like that, there should be a sending off offence.
Yeah, yes.
Although to top all that, I have to say that Mr. Smith's had an excellent game today.
I think he has, yeah. I think he's refereed this very well.
David Nelson doing the honours.
Sort of dog that looks as if it would lick you to death rather than bite you to death.
But I wouldn't have picked it up to find out, Steve. So Nelson hits the ball up. Light-hearted interlude in what's not been a good afternoon for the Eagles. Waddell gets the ball off, and Cook takes the ball up. Eagles with the numbers now. Powell's running. Direction's not quite there. Broadbent gets it off to Powell. Got to keep it alive. Farrell. And plenty of defence from Salford. Plenty of numbers. And Nico goes to the line. And Tunks trying to force his way over, and that's the last tackle. Well, that's not good professional play. After one drive, Nickel drove the ball in, and he really needed something more enterprising than Tunks trying to force his way over. Gill filling in for his forwards. Hadley. And Ian Shedder. Waddle. Last tackle now. This is Williams, puts the ball downfield, and that's a good kick. And David Nelson takes it on the full. And again, Hansen up early and makes a good tackle on Nelson. This is Mayer, looking a good player. So, with space now, Eagles. And again, looking to turn the ball inside. Farrell. Last tackle now. And the long ball spins out. DeMeyer on the wing. Gets the ball off. Oh, Panapa just couldn't quite take it. Well, one of the biggest wingers we've seen in the game is Mayer.
Yeah, and he's looked dangerous since being there, hasn't he? He's got a lot of the play. He's come in field and took the outside there. But Sheffield just not combining in that way that we have seen them in the past, and they've given themselves too much to do now.
Well, as the clock runs out, looking to the future, you have to say that the Eagles will now be able to concentrate on First Division survival. Mayer steps, gets the ball to Panapa. Waddle lifts the ball off. Finds Powell. And certainly a lack of direction from the Eagles. But they've got to keep the ball alive. Haven't time to set things up. Tunks. Turns Farrell back in. Farrell beats a tackle and gets over. That's a terrific try. I think it's too late though. So Aston, chance to put the Eagles 3 points, within 3 points.
Eagles scored by Anthony Farrell.
16 points to 19. There it goes.
Conversion there by Mark Aston. Takes the score now. Salford 19, Eagles 16.
So, still a chance, Steve. It's a very slim chance. The point is, when they get the ball from this kick, they've got to keep the ball alive.
Certainly, that's going to be throw caution to the wind. They've done a bit of that. That was a nice try, constructed nicely by Peter Tunks, and finished off well by Anthony Farrell, who went through 2 or 3 Salford tackles, but one feels it's come just a few moments too late.
Still, there's a few minutes injury time played. Mr. Smith stopped the clock a few times. So Nelson, last ditch attempt by the Eagles. They've got to keep the ball alive. Don't want you, Woodell, in. No disrespect to you. That's a terrific run, but the Eagles don't have time for driving the ball. Got to move the ball. He wants moving early. Panapa with a chance. Got Powell. Nelson. Come on, the Eagles. Keep it alive. Play it quickly, David, before the outer goes. Got to go. Got to move the ball. Aston finds Power. Spanappa. Give it to Mayer. Give it to Will. Mayer should have gone in the corner. Sonny were in the wrong place. I'd have preferred Mayer with the ball. All offside. Mayer trying to use his strength. And that's disappointing. And Kerry happy to go to the ground. Well, I think if that ball had gone straight out to Des Mayer instead of the nickel, I think we may have seen a better result.
Might well have been, yeah. It's all ifs and buts, isn't it? But a great spirited response by the Eagles, a great sequence of play, some lovely football, switch to one side and then down the other.
And there goes the hooter. And the Eagles out of the Challenge Cup. Bitterly disappointing performance, and just showing in that last 10 minutes what they were capable of.
Certainly, but it just came too late, didn't it? I think, as you said, as we felt at half-time, that they had the capacity to beat Salford. They'd much of the game, especially in the first half, they looked the better side, but it didn't work out that way, and Salford had that lead at half-time, were confident, got a try just after half-time, tackled, I thought, really well from then on in, and the Sheffield had too much to catch up, and never quite that real determination, enthusiasm that we saw in the previous 2 rounds, and Salford have been just too good for them on the day. So it's the Lancastrians who go through to the third round, and the Eagles unable to overcome this second round bogey. They've never been past the second round, and having beaten Hull and Featherstone, I think they thought a great chance this time, but not to be. First Division survival is now their one and only priority.
Yeah, and all credit to Salford. We've criticised Salford once or twice this afternoon, but you've got to give them all credit. They took every chance that was given to them.
They certainly did, and I thought in the second half they tackled very well. They certainly tightened up that marker defence, which had been a little bit slack in the first half, and they deserved it. The man of the match award, voted by the press, went to loose forward Burgess, but I think you and I might well agree that that second row Hansen was all over the field in both attack and defence. He had a tremendous game.
Absolutely outstanding, Hansen. Certainly a player I'll be watching in the future. So there we are, the end of the Silk Cup Challenge Cup trail for the Eagles today. So join us our next home game when we resume our First Division survival battle. Myself, Mick McGowan, and Steve Alderson for Advanced Video Production saying bye-bye.